Man, what resolution size is this? What is this, 640 by 480? That won't do. Ugh. There we go. Glorious small HD. Hello filmmakers, Ash here, and welcome to Film It Yourself. Today is super exciting because I wanted to do a product review on one of the most game-changing pieces of equipment that I have purchased, the SmallHD monitor. For years and years, I didn't use a monitor and I got really good at looking at the tiny little LCD screens on all of my cameras and being able to tell if a shot was in focus and exposed properly. But people kept telling me, you need a monitor. You should buy a monitor. And I was like, nah, I'm good. But then I shot a short film outside in full sun with no shade cover for my LCD screen. Yep, full on screen glare. So when SmallHD had a Black Friday sale last year, I was stoked to pick this baby up. I went for the 5.5-inch OLED onboard monitor, which is their newer version of their 5-inch, and it has the resolution of 1080p. It has a micro HDMI port and includes a micro HDMI cable, so you might need an adapter for cameras with full HDMI ports. I purchased this cheap one from Amazon that works great, and I'll put a link for it in the description below. It's much cheaper than the one SmallHD will want to charge you for. Sorry, but I like cheap cables. Now it uses the Sony L-mount NPF battery that attaches onto the back of the monitor. I bought two Wasabi brand batteries because they were cheaper and I wanted two in case I needed to swap them out during a shoot, but I found that the battery life on this thing is pretty amazing and it usually lasts me a whole day with just one battery. Now that's probably because I bought the 970 size, and as you can see, these are pretty big boys, and the only downside about these is that it prevents you from being able to rotate the monitor because the monitor does swivel full 360. So if you want a battery that doesn't get in the way of rotating the monitor, I recommend going for the 770 battery size instead, which is slightly slimmer and thus doesn't get in the way. So as you can see, it's attached to the camera with this arm and it just attaches straight to the hot shoe, which is super convenient so that it can just live on top of your camera. And then it has some adjusting knobs so you can adjust the tension and the rotation, because as I said, it does rotate 360 degrees. And one of the cool parts of that too is that when you rotate the screen, the image will flip automatically with it so that the image is always the right side up no matter where you have your screen located, which is super awesome and convenient for shooting when you have your camera in some weird places. Another feature I like is that because it's taking up the hot shoe mount, they've given you a cold shoe on the side, and this is great because I like to attach my Rode VideoMic Pro and record backup audio whenever I'm doing anything. That's my backup audio mic. And so this is a great feature because now it can just live right here and everything is self-contained and on the camera. No need to necessarily have a camera cage to house all of that stuff. And another cool feature on the SmallHD monitor is that in the very bottom, which my battery is going to get in the way, but there is an SD card slot so that you can load LUTs into the monitor. So if you want to shoot and see what things are going to look like, if you know what the LUT is that you're going to use in editing, it's super convenient. You can load those LUTs on here and then preview your image with the LUT, which is awesome. And of course, as I was talking about, it's essential to have a monitor when you're shooting outside. And so SmallHD also has a little hood for this guy, which I love. It's super lightweight, it's plastic, but it feels like nice and durable. It's not like cheap plastic, and it just pops right onto the monitor like so. And so when you're outside, you have some sun cover and you can see your screen without any glare. Okay, so let's talk about some cons with this monitor because I have been singing its praise, but there are a few small little things that I wish it had. Number one is I do wish that it had some built-in speakers for playback. It does have a headphone jack, so you can plug in headphones, but I often want to come back to my camera and review my shot, and I don't necessarily have headphones on me, and I don't really want to go through the trouble of plugging them in and taking them out and all that stuff. So I do wish it just had some like little speakers so that I could just review the shot and make sure that everything is looking okay, not necessarily looking for the sound quality, but just wanting to hear the sound. So like if I have an actor performing, I can, make sure that their performance is what I wanted instead of watching it with no sound. So small detail, but something I do wish it had. Another con for me is that it doesn't come with a case. And I mean, this is such a nice screen, I definitely want to protect it. But I was able to get a cheap case on Amazon that totally fits it. And it's super awesome because, well, I mean, look at it. But also it has a pocket so that you can keep all your cables in it. And then it has this area where the screen fits in with the arm still on, which was important to me because I don't want to have to take it on and off every time. That would be a pain. But look in the description below for a link for this. They also have other cool patterns and colors for this case, and it's just a basic Amazon case that was like, I think $15 or so. So definitely worth the investment to protect your $300+ monitor. Okay, moving on. So let's get into some of the different software features on the SmallHD monitor. So one thing that's cool is you can have different pages with different heads-up displays turned on. So on this one, you can see that I have my waveform turned on here in the corner. And then on this one, I have it turned off. And I can just tap to add different things, whatever I want. I could add a histogram here, add it to that page, and then make sure it's turned on. And here now I have a histogram appearing in the corner of my frame, which is so cool. And then I can customize it so that I can swipe through and move to my waveform when I want my waveform on the screen, or I can move back when I want my histogram or whatever else on the screen, which is super great because sometimes you want a bunch of stuff on your screen, but then you quickly want to swipe away so that you can clear all of it and just see your final image. So you can also pinch, and then you can add new screens this way by pressing add new screen. And as I showed before, you can add a new tool here. And maybe you want to add, let's see, you could add aspect ratio, safe borders, crosshairs, crosshatch. You can add exposure assist, zebra, color picker, so you can pick colors. You can also add a histogram, waveform, or vector scope. You can add focus assist, peaking. You can add looks, so that's where if you wanted to add in the LUTs. You can capture an image, you can have audio meters, which also could be super useful. So you can monitor your audio, make sure you're not peaking there. And you can also add metadata if you want. You can crop it if you are maybe trying to have the final image be 4:3. There's that option to crop as well. You can change to anamorphic, you can size and position, and you can have a gimbal overlay or any of this other nonsense, whatever you want. But as you can see, it has lots of features that you can add into the display. And once you add a feature to a page, so let's add the waveform, you can decide to add it to this page, or you can add it to all pages automatically. So that way every single page will have the waveform on it from now on, which is super convenient if there's one thing, like maybe you want the audio to be on every single page so that you're always keeping an eye on it. That's a great option. And finally, you can also pinch and go to more settings here in the monitor where you have a bunch of other settings and controls you can set for the monitor specifically. Honestly, this monitor has been a game changer for me, especially if you're filming yourself and you need to be able to see you on screen. Honestly, normally when I'm filming these, I have my monitor right up there on the camera that's filming, and so this was a little challenging because normally I have this beautiful monitor that I can see myself in. So if you're vlogging or you're shooting by yourself, I highly recommend you get this because it is going to really make your life so much easier. And if you're a filmmaker, this helps ensure that you have a big screen to check your focus and see all the other things like your waveform and whatnot, and it's big and beautiful and easy to see. Now, of course, there's links for this monitor in the description below, and let me know what you think about this monitor and if you think it would work for you, or if you need something bigger or maybe smaller. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video. Oh, and speaking of not missing a video, I see a super cute shot of Spence that I have to go get real quick.